In July, economists changed their outlook for the US economy. And surprisingly, the recession risk went down, not up. But that doesn't mean the danger is gone. Right now, the American economy is sending mixed signals. Growth is positive, jobs are getting harder to find, inflation is still above the Fed's target, and the Federal Reserve has a new chairman. So, what's actually happening? Let's break down the numbers. Earlier this year, recession fears were much higher, but the latest Wall Street Journal survey shows economists have become less pessimistic about the next 12 months. The probability is now around 25%. That's better than earlier forecasts, but 25% still means the risk isn't zero. It's roughly one chance in four, and that's worth paying attention to. Now, look at economic growth. The latest government estimate shows real GDP grew at a 1.5% annualized rate in the second quarter of 2026. That's positive, but it's slower than the 2.1% growth recorded in the first quarter. So, the economy isn't in recession. It's just not exactly booming either. Then there's inflation. Prices are still rising faster than the Federal Reserve wants. The Fed's long-term target is 2%, and persistent inflation makes it harder for the Fed to simply cut interest rates and stimulate the economy. That's where the new Fed chairman comes in. Kevin Warsh took over as Federal Reserve Chairman on May 22, 2026, and his approach has put inflation back at the center of the conversation. If inflation stays stubborn, the Fed could keep monetary policy tighter for longer, and that could slow down economic growth. But here's the strange part. The economy is still getting support from investment. Companies are spending heavily on technology and AI infrastructure. That investment is helping keep growth alive, but it also creates a risk. If companies suddenly slow their AI spending, one important source of economic growth could weaken. And then there's the labor market. This is where things get uncomfortable. The US economy actually lost 23,000 jobs in July. Economists had expected a gain. Previous months were also revised lower. The unemployment rate was 4.1%. So this isn't a collapse, but hiring is clearly much weaker than it was during the strongest parts of the recovery. And that's exactly the kind of slowdown economists watch before a recession. So we have a strange combination: positive GDP, weak job growth, persistent inflation, and a Federal Reserve trying to balance both. That's why economists aren't calling a recession inevitable, but they're not ignoring the risk either. And here's what this means for you. You don't need to panic, you need to prepare. First, build an emergency fund. If your job disappears, cash gives you time. Second, be careful with new debt. A huge car payment or expensive credit card balance becomes much harder to manage if your income falls. Third, look at your industry. Are companies hiring? Are layoffs increasing? Is your job dependent on one struggling sector? These questions matter more when the economy starts slowing. Because the biggest mistake isn't preparing for a recession that never happens. It's doing nothing and then trying to prepare after the layoffs begin. Right now, the data doesn't say a recession is coming for sure. It says the economy is slowing in some important areas while other parts are still holding up. That's why the recession probability is lower than before, but still high enough to take seriously. The economy isn't crashing, but it's not completely safe either. And if things get worse, the people who prepared early will have the biggest advantage. So ask yourself, if your paycheck disappeared tomorrow, how long could you survive? That's the number you should know. Subscribe for more simple breakdowns of the American economy and the financial system you're actually living in.